Thank you. So obviously that's a very, very quick overview of this. It's obviously going to be a little bit more complicated than this, but this is a nice motivational little video that just gives you a glimpse of the possibilities. And in fact, these are the possibilities, and they really are that simple, but it is going to require one thing, and that's probably the most difficult thing that we have to do, and that's to work together. And right now, for humanity to work together is one of the most difficult things. And I've learned this from the many community projects that we've launched and so forth. This, however, is very different. So can you see in this that we're using the tools of enslavement as tools of liberation? We're going after a small town, and we're using the town, its infrastructure. We're not going to buy a piece of land and start digging trenches and laying down pipes and all that. Why? Why create a new community when there are millions of communities and places called little towns and villages? We don't have to start anything new, just have to change the way people think. That's all. So we don't need an election to do this. We don't need to run for mayor or win an election and run for governor or whatever. We just find a mayor, willing mayor, and a willing community. And the mayor then implements this. Now, it's a lot more powerful if the mayor goes out on the social media and does a weekly update on, hi, I'm the mayor of so-and-so, and this is what we're doing in our town. If you can cure cancer, if you can create an energy device, if you're a material scientist and can develop new this and that, if you can do this, come to my town. We'll make sure that we'll give you what you need so you can create what you're good at that can benefit our community and beyond. If the mayor says this, it carries a lot more weight than Michael Tillinger. So therein lies the rub. So now the mayor, who is the political appointee, becomes a spokesperson for this new system. And the council supports the mayor because they've bought into it as well. And then the people are the whole support of the town. And it's done through consensus, cooperation, and collaboration. Now, if people don't want to participate, no one's forcing you to participate. People say, well, I'm not going to do this. This is silly. It's not for me. Sounds like a utopian hippie idea. Okay, you don't have to do it, buddy. Fine, you can carry on doing what you do. But remember, those that participate and give their 3 hours a week, this whole model is built on you got to find 3 hours a week somewhere. And I'll go into more detail. But as soon as you give 3 hours a week, you are participating. You are contributing. It's called contributionism. And therefore, you have access to whatever we do, not just the thing that you're contributing to. So if you work in the bakery for 3 hours this week because they need you to come and deliver stuff or mix the dough or whatever, okay, this is obviously unskilled labor. I'm talking the 3 hours a week is not skilled labor, unless you're really skilled in something and they want you for 3 hours a week in the engineering plant to make sure that they mix the chemicals correctly for dissolving the railway or something. I don't know. Or we'll talk. We'll talk about some interesting ideas. Dissolving the tar on the roads because we now have hovercraft. So the interesting thing is that it opens the doors to people with different skills in our town that can't find a job. I mean, how many engineers or rocket scientists do you have that work at McDonald's because they can't find a job? And that's the horrific reality that we face. So by this little video, when I say we identify the skills of the people, we go and actually the mayor and the people, we have meetings and say, right, who's in our town that's got special skills? And we'll find people, or we might have a guy that worked in Silicon Valley that can build a bloody supercomputer, but he can't find a job because of whatever reason. So you'll find that what happens is these amazing talents come out of the woodwork, and that's what we put into the plan. And this is what the investors are so interested in. They love this new initiative. And why is it so lucrative for the investors? It's very simple. Because suddenly you've got a cooperative labor force. So I come as an investor and say, right, I want to invest into the bakery in the town. We're now not going to have 5 bakeries all competing against each other. That is not a recipe for success. That's a recipe for disaster. One of the bakeries is going to make 4 people go out of business. They're going to lose their homes, lose their jobs. They're going to end up homeless because of one bakery took control of all the stuff in town. We're going to prevent that. So we're going to have a bakery that belongs to everyone in the community. It's our bakery. And we're going to make sure that we put the best bloody baker into that bakery. And if we can't find the best baker, then we fly them in from Germany or France. Because we can find the money and get the best baker. What the consequence of that is that the baker then becomes a teacher and a skills transfer instructor to other young bakers who are inspired by this master of his trade. And this works right across the board in every level, whatever we choose to do. You might have some little kid in a garage that knows how to build a supercomputer. But is he going to get a job in the industry somewhere? Of course not. There are not enough jobs. You might have a certificate and you might have a PhD or doctorate coming out of your ass, but you ain't going to get a job. So now that changes. We suddenly create, this is why we say that we can create work for every single person in our community. I'm not saying a job, I'm saying work, because there's a big difference between a job and work. A job, you're a slave to the system or slave to some company owner or a government corporation or somebody. You're somebody's slave. We're creating work for everyone in our community if they choose to do it, if they choose to participate. So it's open up to all of us. No one's forcing you to do anything. You can be an asshole and sit on the fence and say, oh, I'm not going to participate in this crazy utopian nonsense. How long are you going to sit on the fence when you start seeing all your friends suddenly getting free electricity? You're going to start getting food as we produce the food, and suddenly we're going to create a little factory that makes clothing and amazing, beautiful designs and clothing. How much effort is it going to take for us to create a little clothing factory? Not much, really, right? And how much effort is it going to take for us to start making beautiful, beautiful fabrics when we get the right textile technology in there? Not long. So everything is simple. The moment we start working together and doing it for ourselves, it becomes a problem when we start doing it for corporations. And this is how quickly, this is to come back to the investors. So as an investor, I say, right, I want to come and invest in the bakery. Now, as an investor, I am the co-owner with all the people of the community. We are co-owners of the one bakery in town. That doesn't mean there's only one bakery. You might have 20 bakeries. But it's one business. They all belong to all of us. So we're baking bread for all of us, and we make sure we bake so much bread at a price that we can be very competitive with Walmart and everybody else, because we're doing it together. Now we can even deliver it. We got a labor force of 10,000 people. If there's 10,000 people in our town, we got a labor force of 30,000 hours of labor a week. Do you know what you can achieve with 30,000 hours of labor a week? It's insane. Suddenly our little town becomes a competitor to every large corporation in the world. This has never happened before. Large corporations can't afford to pay 10,000 people. We've just turned our town into a powerful cooperative structure, which is a corporation. So we still have to identify the skills and the special masters of the trade, the specialists in each business that we set up. And I'm thinking, obviously, to start off with, food security is one of the most important. So growing of food, seeds, the heirloom seeds, make a seed bank and so forth becomes part of this thing from the very beginning. And if you just think about the food industry, do you know how we can create 100 businesses just from growing food? From growing all kinds of food, then the packaging of the food, then bottling it or preserving it or creating jams, or like the food alone can create a huge success in a small town. Just growing food and doing stuff with food. You don't even have to worry about technology or healthcare. But let's talk about, for example, a hospital. We forget that hospitals make huge amounts of money. Now, we might have a legal problem calling our new place a hospital, because I know in South Africa, if you call yourself a hospital, then you need all this paperwork and red tape and all this kind of crap. So we don't call ourselves a hospital, we call ourselves a wellness center. But people know that when you come in here and you've got cancer, you leave, you're free of cancer. So they're going to stop going to the hospital, they're going to come to our wellness center from all over the world. Do you know how much money is made by hospitals? What's it called? Hospital or healthcare tourism around the world. I know South Africa is a major destination. Our private hospitals do trillions of rands every year in surgery and stuff. We got some of the best surgeons in the world. People come from all over the world because it's a lot cheaper there to come and get their surgery done. And then they have a holiday in Cape Town or go to the Kruger Park after the surgery. So now they're going to be coming to our town. It's just insane. Our little hospital, Once we get a guy, how long do you think we're going to find somebody that knows how to cure cancer? If I, as the mayor, goes out on the internet and puts out a YouTube channel, right, for our little town, which is what they have not done in North Frontenac, okay? This is what needs to happen. And every week, we put the mayor down in the best kind of suit with a tie that is just correctly scuffed, right? Or worn. What's that movie with, you know which movie I'm referring to? It's a great movie. He runs senator. He runs for president, and he tells them how they choose his suits and his ties and his shoes, just the right color and all this. So he comes across just the right way. So we choose a mayor. We dress our mayor in just the right clothes. We use the tools of enslavement as tools of liberation, people. All the marketing tactics and techniques and philosophy and all the stuff, we use it in our own benefit now, for our own benefit. It's a beautiful thing. It's a poetic justice kind of thing, you know, because we're now doing it for ourselves. So, yes. No. We'll decide. As a community, we'll decide what we're going to do. But first of all, the mayor, I think maybe you're just jumping a little too far. Let's go through the process. We haven't really quite completed the process yet. So remember, we're trying something. We're trying to create a successful model of economic success, a model of economic success. So we're going to economic success and sustainable success as well. So it's both, creating food security, health security, water security, technology security for ourselves, for our community. And while we're doing that, all the abundance that we're creating is exported and sold for the profits that can get distributed and put back into creating new projects. So it's a self-feeding mechanism. And let's just obviously, the first thing we need to do is we go look at the farms that are standing empty, that are not being used, the factories that are standing empty. So, well, what did this factory used to do? Well, they used to bottle canned food or whatever. So then let's figure out what we can put this factory to, how we can put it back to use. We're the people that know the science and the technique, how to work the factory. Suddenly the people that ended up workless and jobless will be back doing what they know how to do. And they, in our community, and if they've moved away, they might find a reason to come back to the town that they were forced to leave because they lost their job. So it's a fixing of a problem that was imposed on us through the failure of capitalism. We just fix it. Now suddenly the mayor says, right, we're going, these are the projects. So the mayor and the people of the town decide collectively at town meetings, what projects are we going to start? Which farms are we going to start to work? Which factories are we going to put to work again? And like I said, we might have a kid there or some people that have worked at Silicon Valley that know how to build a supercomputer and that actually know how to build a computer that you build once and it lasts forever with infinite memory and all that stuff, right? Because we know how to make infinite memory chips, but you're never going to get it from the computer industry. Well, we're going to build it in our factory. So here's a little interesting question. Let's jump a little bit and say when we get to the stage, it might be a year or two down the road, it's probably going to be a lot quicker because I've asked this at Silicon Valley. I asked, how long will it take us to build a supercomputer? And normally they laugh at me. They say it's already been built, but they're never going to release it to us. So we're going to release that, build it and release it from our little town. So here's my question. How many supercomputers do you think we're going to sell from our little factory in our one small town? Right? Let your imagination run wild. What red tape? No, I understand. Dear, why are you tripping yourself up? Stop tripping yourself up. Stop doing that. This is our worst. We become our own worst enemies when we start doing this. Yes. That's why I said we're not going to call it a hospital. We're going to call it a health and wellness center. What? Why, if you discover a new machine, you don't tell anybody about it. You just use it. Why do you need to tell anybody about some machine that you created? Who? What? 'Cause really? Why would you be so stupid to say, well, I invented a machine that cures cancer. Can somebody give me permission to use it? Really? So we put that machine in our health and wellness center. We don't tell anybody. And people come in there with cancer and they leave without cancer. So how long is it going to take for them to figure it out? By the time they figure it out, the awareness of this is going to be so wide that it's going to be very difficult to stop it. Because by then, what happens, the moment the first small town happens, okay, the one most important thing that I didn't bring in, which I need to bring in now, is the first thing we do, bring in our own electricity supply. Okay, because that becomes a foundation for all of this stuff. Now, yes, there's red tape and bureaucratic crap and the national supply grids that have certain rights and exclusivities. But this Ron Higgins thought that he was going to have a hard time implementing the electricity grid in North Frontenac. Well, the moment he started going down that road, he realized that that wasn't the case. The doors opened all the way. What about water? There's water everywhere. There's water in wells, there's water in rivers, there's water in rain, there's water everywhere. Okay, just stop making problems for ourselves. Okay, and towns have water. There's, and if there's a town that can't do it, first of all, we can't go with the first town that we're going to do. We can't go and do it in the most inhospitable, unfriendly place. That's not going to happen. So we need to fish where the fish are, right? Choose the town and the mayor and the situation where it's going to be the easiest and the most quickest to implement this. Because we want to show a success and not struggle with some inhospitable place. So this is what we're planning to do. We're working on launching an Ubuntu coin currency, cryptocurrency. I've struggled for a long time with crypto because I don't like it at all. It's just another trap. It's a fiat currency that is made out of nothing. It has no value, nothing, and somebody somewhere controls it, and they can pull the plug anytime. The whole thing can collapse overnight. So we're working on launching an Ubuntu coin as a means to fund and raise $50 million to go and implement a one small town with all the money that we need. We arrive there and say, we've got the money, Mr. Mayor, let's do this. But the plan is this. We go and we make a TV commercial. Yes. Who will decide about the town? I'm about to tell you. So what we'll do is the plan is that we launch this Ubuntu coin. We're busy working on the white paper right now, and our objective is to raise like $50 to $150 million with the launch of this. I believe that is achievable from the people that work in cryptocurrencies. That people have raised a lot more than that. And our Ubuntu coin is actually going to be, as far as I know, the only cryptocurrency that's connected to human effort and human energy. Because you're only going to get an Ubuntu coin if you do something. Either become a member of the Ubuntu movement or make a monthly contribution of $11 or work for 3 hours a week in a community and an approved community project. So you have to do something. It's contributionism. You have to contribute something to get your Ubuntu coin. And the whole thing is going to be based on that we want to raise $50 million, and then what we're going to do, the plan is that we go and we write a beautiful TV commercial. And again, we use the tools of enslavement as tools of liberation. Every step of the way. The banks use these emotive commercials, the retirement companies and the holiday resorts, and they make you weep and they make you so emotional. And we go and we find the best writer to write the copy for us, and the best commercial director in America or in England, wherever the hell we find them, to shoot this TV commercial, and it'll be heart-wrenching. What happened to the heart of America? Once a proud nation that fed our people, that grew the crops high into the sky, now standing barren and empty. Our factories are empty. The people are jobless. What happened to the heart of America? You know, that kind of emotive stuff. Well, if you are a mayor of a town that's decaying, that once used to be a proud home to smiling faces, and that kind of emotive stuff, and say, we are here to help you. We'll come and turn your town around.